from 24-Hour News 8, this is the ArtPrize Juried Awards Shortlist. Live from the ArtPrize Hub in downtown Grand Rapids.
And this is the first big night of the ArtPrize 9. You will learn the entries in the running for the Juried Award categories. Artists who make the shortlist tonight could win as much as $400,000 at ArtPrize. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marley Ginter, anchor of the 7 on 8, weeknights at 7 right here on Wood TV 8. Tonight, I'm joined by an all-star panel of art legends. They've been running around town, seeing art for the past few days, and tonight they are eager to tell you about the very best of ArtPrize 9. So this year, the juried shortlists are even more important than ever before. You'll be able to vote on these finalists in round 2. Isn't that awesome? Here's how it works. The ArtPrize Awards are split into 4 categories: 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, installation, and time-based. You're voting for your favorites in each category, but tonight it's the jurors' turn. 5 experts have whittled their categories down to the best 5. And new this year in round 2, the juried finalists and the public finalists will be eligible for both $200,000 grand prizes. That's right, you will get to vote for the finalists unveiled tonight in round 2. Also tonight, one juror has been tasked with finding the best venue at ArtPrize. We'll see that short list of the top 5 venues you have to visit. All right, so are you ready? Let's get right to the short list. We've got a very animated crowd tonight. That's what's going to make this so much fun. We'll start with the installation category. This is for entries that are dependent on the location where they're installed. So last year, This Space Is Not Abandoned by 912 Collaborative won the Installation Juried Award. The category juror this year is Anila Kayam Aga, an associate professor of drawing at Heron School of Art in Indianapolis. You might recognize her name too. Anila is also the biggest winner in ArtPrize history. Oh, yes. In 2014, you'll probably remember her entry, Intersections, just gorgeous, won the public grand prize and split the juried grand prize for a record grand total of $300,000. So welcome back to ArtPrize, Anila. So awesome to have her here now. So let's go ahead and get started with what your final picks were for tonight. So we want to start off with Canceled Edition by Pippin Frisbee Calder. Oh, yes. You can catch this one over at the Urban Institute for Contemporary Arts. Talk about this one, Anila.
It's quite timely. It's very topical. It's almost approximately 800 woodcut pieces that she has installed in this gallery space, and then people are welcome to come in and pay a little money and take one with them. So when I walked in, they were at least 80% gone. Mm-hmm. And I thought that that was very interesting because I felt like, you know, this is exactly what human presence has done to our environment. And we, as people who are the custodians of this earth, need to be better at dealing with this kind of thing. But also, she did something that was, you know, just as important. She kind of took care of her own sustainability, too, right, by asking for a small donation so that she can sustain herself as well. And I thought that that was a very, very powerful piece. It was also really, it made me feel so, you know, sad to see and feel and right, hear that we as humans have impacted our environment so strongly. So I think it's a very timely piece.
And certainly does leave, powerful is probably the best word to describe it, because when you look at the piece in the end and you see all of the all that's missing, yeah, it really does leave you with sort of that gut-wrenching feeling inside.
Very gut-wrenching.
Powerful is definitely the word for it. So let's get to the next one that you picked, Enmesh by Leroy de Rubertis. This one over at the Grand Rapids Art Museum.
So this piece is very interesting. When I walked into the gallery, I felt like I was in a ghostly space with ghosts from the past and the future and the present. And it sort of talks about humanity on a very larger scale because the shadows could represent people who may not be there but still are. And I kind of felt like it was delicate, it was sensitive, and it kind of brought my own humanity to the foreground. Also, it's made out of wire, so it's extremely sensitive, and I kind of felt there was a really beautiful, very poetic piece.
Right. And when you look at it, I would say that you would think delicate right away. The shadows almost leave you with that eerie feeling inside too.
So like the ghosts of past, present, and future.
And then the next one, ready for this one? Two-Way Protocols by Zane Miller. The Fed Galleries at Kendall College of Art and Design, that's where you can find this piece. This one is one that's interactive as well, because as I was watching, people were able to interact with this piece. Talk about why you chose this one.
It is made of simple materials. It's extremely simple, but not simplistic. It's extremely elegant. And when I walked into the gallery, I thought it's beautifully crafted, but it had that translucency that was like, sort of inviting, but also slightly repelling. And so when I walked around and I noticed that I could go inside, and then suddenly it blooms into this space that I, can see myself, but other people can see me too. So it talks about our phones and the way we interact with our handheld devices. We're almost like narcissistic in the way we deal with our phones and our equipment. And I felt like it was, again, very sensitive to the way we are now. It was also very elegant, I feel.
And the next one we chose, Society of 23's Locker Dressing Room by Jeffrey Augustine Fontenot. That's just one at the City Water Building by the Richard Abt Gallery.
Now this piece is just finesse to the last detail. It was amazing to walk in, see the materials, the space being utilized so beautifully. It was just like everything was in its place and it just felt right. But it's talking about something really important, about diversity and, our sexuality and the way we are and the way we live in this world, and how kindness is sometimes absent when we are dealing with each other. And I felt like it dealt with the masculinity of the locker room and the theatrical situation. I just felt so much in tune with this piece. I just thought it was wonderful.
It certainly does touch on so many topics that are what everyone is focusing on today, for
Very
sure.
topical, yeah.
And then the next one, Bushcraft, Radical Stimulus by Jessica Wildman, another one at the Grand Rapids Art Museum.
Now this piece again is very much about our environment, and I feel like again it's just hitting on it really poetically, very sensitively. It's the thread or the string that's been used is 24 karat gold, and it is just this beautiful netting that's put on these saplings that have been painted copper. But the idea of like how we have destroyed our oceans, or how our fisheries are using these devices that are sort of destroying our environment. And again, very, very topical, very sensitive to our environment. The materials are sort of, repelling, but still very much what we, the bling that humans love. So it's that kind of thing. And I just was like, wow, this is sensitive and beautiful. It's also really attractive. It just brings you in, and it's just this delicacy in there with those saplings that are pretty strong. And so I think it's a very beautiful piece.
And if you read about the artist too, this was a piece that was so very personal to her. And it really stood out that she used 24 karat gold
Yeah.
as well. Just a very, another one of those that you take a step back and you say, wow, what have I done to the environment? What have I done?
Maybe I'll give up eating fish completely.
Okay, so there you have it. Now to the time-based category. These entries are durational and change over time, so like a performance or film. Now last year, Search Engine Vision ISIS by Eric Souther won the time-based Juried Award. The juror for the time-based category this year, Scott Stullen, the director and president of the Philbrook Museum of Art in Tulsa. Scott, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And first of all, I want to talk about the crowd. This has just been an amazing way. You've had to go around and check out all of this art, and as you were saying earlier, that can be very overwhelming.
It can be, and time-based is really fun, but it's also time-consuming at times too. But it is, seeing 100+ works of art in a short period of time. I feel like blessed to have that opportunity, but it also could be kind of draining, too.
Yes. So the first up, Gorilla Means War by Crystal Z. Campbell, Cultura Collective at Rumsey Street.
So this piece is really interesting, and I think with ArtPrize too, it's so important about site. So having this happening at Rumsey Street, and it's about gentrification. So it's talking about a film that was found in a neighborhood in Brooklyn that was reclaimed and put to a soundtrack. But putting it in that neighborhood, in that site, adds a whole nother layer to the piece. So I think it adds a richness to it, and what she's done is taken this found footage and then put this soundtrack over the top of it that talks about loss, it talks about memories, and how those things shape over time.
And then when you add that soundtrack, I'm sure that's where you get all the emotions that come in with it.
Absolutely, it's a very powerful piece, and I hope people get out there to see it too.
The next one, Red Dirt Rug by Renee Dutree, Western Michigan University, Grand Rapids campus is where you can find that one.
So Raina's piece is taking 200 gallons of Oklahoma red dirt, packing it down and turning it into this beautiful rug. But the performance is just as much part of the piece, and everything has been thought of, from what she's wearing to how things are displayed to how the motions, to how things are going about. So it becomes a meditation as much as the creation of the piece. And then this piece is talking about things that we've taken from the land. So Oklahoma and that red dirt is iconic, but it's also about taking. It's also about the Dust Bowl. It's about the oil industry there. But she's done it in this really elegant way. That is this sculptural piece, but also this performance.
Just beautiful and absolutely mesmerizing, too, to see that. Next up, the Heartside Community Meal by Setu Jones, Urban Institute for Contemporary Arts is where you can see that one.
That's an appropriate response. It's good. So Setu, what's interesting about this, there's pieces that are part of more of a physical exhibition, but the real piece is the dinner that happened on Saturday night. So this was in the Heartside community. It was 200+ people in a communal table, bringing together local farmers, chefs, artisans from the community. Kid came to this beautiful grace before it, which was amazing to kick it off. And then we ate. But sitting down and talking to people that you normally would never sit down next to, and that's kind of putting it a little bit on us too. But to have an actual conversation, find out what's happening there, and have this empathetic, open moment. And I think for me, really taking part of it is that we need to have those conversations. Instead of yelling at each other on social media, be actually talking to people in your neighborhood. So it's a really strong piece. So
different from just the text, right? That's what art is all about, bringing the community together. And the next up, Remission by Paul Kaiser and John Charter. You can see this one over at the City Walter Building at the Richard Abt Gallery.
So this piece is stunning. Every single shot is like a painting, just the saturation of the color. But the story of these characters, and the characters are just as well thought as the film is. They're these really fantastic, it's like Matthew Barney meets H.R. Pufnstuf, characters. And it's this beautiful 5-minute art film about this journey and about coming back from a war and those kind of looking for hope, looking for redemption. And it just has this really interesting narrative arc to it, but also every single shot is like a painting in itself. So it really is a gem.
The colors really stand out in that one, just beautiful. And then Searching by Leandra Lesueur. See this one at the Fed Galleries at Kendall College of Art and Design.
So this is a really powerful piece, and coming in with the two different video screens in the space. So one with really strong African-American women looking right at the screen, but also being vulnerable, and having that juxtaposed with this images talking about police brutality and in really blunt ways. And I think one part of this that really stands out is that there's a moment talking about 41 gunshots and the bullets dropping onto the floor. And it's initially just really jarring seeing that, but then you realize over time how numbing it becomes. And it really puts it back on us to really look closer. And anyway, it's a really, really powerful piece that I hope more people get to see.
And once again, powerful is the one that describes that one. Scott Stuhlen, thank you so much. And we do still have a lot of art to discuss, including the 3D and 2D shortlist, plus the finalists for Outstanding Venue. So we will unveil those right after this break.
Hi, this is Christian from ArtPrize, and I'm here with Simon from ITC.
At ITC, we're thrilled to support arts and culture initiatives across the state of Michigan, including ArtPrize right here in Grand Rapids.
As the sponsor of Critical Discourse, ITC helps ArtPrize celebrate the vision and courage of artists from all over the world. And through programming like tonight's Jurors Shortlist event, all participants are encouraged to step outside of their comfort zone by embracing critical discourse and debate from all perspectives.
While ITC is best known for modernizing today's electric transmission grid to connect consumers to energy, we're proud to support an event that connects new audiences to contemporary art and inspires generations of artists and art lovers.
And thanks to ITC's support, tonight on the ArtPrize Critical Discourse stage, we're hearing from the category jurors. And for the first time at ArtPrize, you can vote on the jurors' picks when round 1 voting ends and round 2 voting kicks off on October 1st.
Which is why I'm especially excited to see what the jurors have to say. We hope you enjoy the rest of tonight's show.
And welcome back to the ArtPrize Hub for the Juried Awards Shortlist event. We are unveiling the jurors' favorite entries at ArtPrize this year. Now, so far, we've already unveiled the shortlist for the installation and time-based categories. You can see those lists right now on woodtv.com and over on artprize.org. Up next, we'll see the finalists for the 2D and 3D categories. We'll also get the top 5 for Outstanding Venue. Each of our jurors tonight will pick a category winner that will get $12,500. Those winners, along with the $200,000 grand prize winners, will be announced at the ArtPrize Awards Show October 6th, live right here on Wood TV 8. All right, so do we want to see another short list? Next up is the Outstanding Venue category. Last year, Site Lab and 912 Collaborative split the Best Venue category. The juror for Best Venue this year is Larry Osei-Mensah, an independent curator in New York and co-founder of Art Noir. This category has extra intrigue this year because Site Lab, which has won 5 out of the past 6 years, is actually taking this year off. So that is pretty interesting. Okay, Larry. So we'll start up first. Monroe Community Church. How did this one stand out to you?
Well, for me, when I was thinking about the venues, I was thinking about what are some of the guiding principles of what makes ArtPrize special. And a lot of that revolves around community, making a space inviting. And for me, it was just it was a perfect surprise. It's not what I would have expected going to that space. As you know, there are many venues that are part of ArtPrize, and so you get to a point where you're fatigued. And I got a text from one of my colleagues, you need to come see this. And I went, and it was just like a breath of fresh air. Really seeing the artwork that was talking about issues of humanity, love, community, particularly I think it was Holly's piece, as well as Heather's piece that really responded. I really responded to those.
That says a lot too when you have a colleague say, hey, you've got to come check this out.
Yeah.
That says a lot. And then next up, Urban Institute for Contemporary Arts.
So I felt the subject matter, looking at our world through the lens of food, was very topical and important. I haven't seen many exhibitions that have really focused in on the subject matter. I was particularly excited about Setu's meal and the fact that it was going to be feeding, I believe, over 200 people. And extending the exhibition outside of the exhibition space and really getting into the community, because I think it's really important that not only do we invite people to come see the sites, but that the art also comes to the community.
And certainly when you look at the list of the pieces that are there as well, like you're saying, they really do touch on what we're dealing with in our community. Next up, Western Michigan University, Grand Rapids.
So I think in terms of this venue, curatorially, a lot of great decisions were made in terms of a variety of mediums that were incorporated, particularly with the time-based piece. I think a lot of individuals who have the opportunity to visit and participate in ArtPrize don't get to see an artist at work. And so I think that was a really great decision to, instead of just kind of having the final piece, having the artist presence, you can kind of see how this creation is developed. And I think it was just really well put together, very smart. And it encouraged the viewer to do a little bit of work and a little bit of thinking and not necessarily just spoon feed the experience to them.
I think it is nice too, as you're saying, we can get to a piece and see it, the finished product, but how cool is it when you can actually see an artist at work doing what they've, all the hard work that they've put into their piece.
Exactly.
So
and
very
I think
cool.
it allows, I think it also just, you value just what artists do a little bit more when you see how much work and effort and thought and care goes into creating the works that they do create.
Exactly. And then the next up, the Fed Galleries at KCAD, Kenner College of Art and Design.
So I think this, again, is another example of a topical exhibition. But I think what really struck me is that most of the pieces in the exhibition are new media, time-based pieces, which I think was a really smart risk. Because I think with ArtPrize, you do see a lot of incredible sculptures and paintings, but to say that I'm gonna, go in a different direction and show more video installation. Zane's piece is fantastic. LaShonda's piece was really important. Talking about issues around police brutality, issues around gender, identity, queerness. I think those are important conversations that need to be happening, right now in our country.
And I would imagine that it would be a risk that you would take to be having videos up there, because it does make the viewers come in and have to sit down and watch through a video rather than just walk through and look at the pieces.
And I think that for me said a lot about the care that the curator was putting forth with this exhibition, slowing you down, because there's so many artworks, amazing artworks to see as part of ArtPrize, and now you have to kind of slow down and really take it in. And I think one of the key details was that each installation or each piece starts off with a prompt. And so, really inviting everybody who visits to kind of reflect and really kind of get into the mood when they see each piece. And hopefully it sparks a dialogue with whoever they might be attending the exhibition with. And then also that conversation continues outside of the space.
Certainly some powerful messages there as well. And then last, Cultura Collective at Rumsey Street.
I think this whole installation was incredible. Talking to the curator, learning about the transition that the community is going through, and spending time in the church and really hearing the testimonials of people from the community and talking about how important this church was to their life, to their family, to their community. And then also Sophia, I believe, her piece, the drawing, I believe it was over 1,000 drawings that she made.
Yep, right.
And I think the fact that with ArtPrize, this is my first time to Grand Rapids, so it's been really incredible to discover the different communities. And I think in the selections that we made, that I made for the shortlist, it was important that it wasn't just downtown, but that you actually go out into the community, experience Grand Rapids, get to talk to people who are from here and really get an understanding of, what are they going through on a day-to-day.
Larios Imensa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now to the three-dimensional category. Last year, Excavations by William Lamson won the 3D Juried Award. The juror for the 3D category this year is Rachel Adams, Senior Curator of Exhibitions for the University of Buffalo Art Galleries. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you for having me.
So first up, let's get straight to the short list. Recovery of Icarus by Rolf Jacobson over at the Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park.
This was a really nice show that the Meyer put on in relation with Rodin, and this sculpture really stood out to me, in particular because it was non-figurative and because the gesture is just so wonderful. It's a little messy. The materials are wood and gesso, which is something that is not necessarily two things I would put together. So it just it sung, honestly. I thought it was really great.
One of those that just stood out. And then the next up, Frontiers by Benjamin Jones over at the City Water Building by the Richard Abb Gallery.
This installation, I think it's an installation of sculpture. I was very glad that it was in my category. I really love the juxtaposition that the artist is using between the man-made and natural, and sort of thinking about the western landscape of the United States as sort of a point of conflict right now, and everything that's sort of going on with our political climate in terms of the environment and what we're doing to it. And there's obviously been a lot of artwork about that in this year's ArtPrize, I think, and the execution of this was really, really wonderful. The materials and just the entire installation of the sculptures were great.
And it certainly does, once again, touch on the issues that we're facing today.
Definitely.
Next up, Flint by T. Rock Moore over at the Fountain Street Church.
Obviously, by the clapping of the crowd, this is definitely one that I think is really probably one of the most powerful pieces that I experienced, along with some of the others that my fellow jurors have picked. Number one, it's in a really great exhibition space, the Fountainhead Church. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Fountain Street, sorry. But, walking up to this sculpture and having the sort of dirty water continually going, and the sort of rust that's kind of occurring within the old water fountain, as well as having obviously the sign that says colored in front of it, and it is talking about the issues that have happened in Flint and that are probably happening in other places that we're unaware of as yet. And then also, going back to our history of this country and, thinking about segregation. So it's just really powerful.
Certainly powerful to see that water coming out of the fountain like that. I know that all of you have watched the news, have read about the Flint water crisis, something that really just brings up a lot of emotion in so many people. And then when you see colored right there, if you read the description about this artwork as well, they really do touch on the fact that this was a racially charged issue.
Definitely. It's very poignant.
Next up, Bloodline by Holly Wilson over at the Monroe Community Church.
I really enjoyed learning about this piece and seeing this piece installed. It's this really wonderful linear story of a locust tree that's been cut in half, and these little stick figures that are made out of, they're cast in bronze, but they're actually sticks and cigars, and they're just beautifully detailed, the faces and the feet, and the shadow play. The artist is Native American, and it sort of talks to her history, the history of her family, and sort of Obviously, the title is called Bloodline. It's a quiet piece, but at the same time, it's super powerful. It's in the Monroe Church. So I definitely suggest everybody to go see this. It's really, and go up to it and look at the detail because it's really amazing.
It's incredible because it really is a moving piece, especially when you realize that this is something so personal to her. It's her bloodline. I almost wanted to think, if I was in that family, I'd say, can I have that piece? Very moving.
And it's also installed very well, I will say.
And the next one, Laborer, by Mike Saul over at the Grand Rapids Public Museum.
You know, this is one of those works that is, it looks really interesting when you're walking up to it, and, you know, just the technique is really great. And then you actually see people disappearing all of a sudden. And so you can, it's interactive. You can climb inside through the front of the Laborer, and then you're inside of the box part and almost in a completely other universe. The work is perforated so that you feel like you're in the cosmos. Obviously, it was a little hot when I was doing this, but I definitely suggest that everybody climb into the sculpture and have sort of that moment of Zen. It almost, you know, has a nice reference to Kusama Infinity Room, sort of feeling like you're completely immersed.
It's amazing, too, because when you look at that sculpture, your shoulders almost start to hurt, you know? And then the fact that it's interactive is so cool.
And then you're filled with light, actually.
Exactly. Well, we do have one final quick break to take, and we will be right back, though, for the short list for the two-dimensional category. Welcome back to the ArtPrize Juried Awards shortlist. We do have one more shortlist to get through, but first, let's go ahead and do a quick recap of what we've seen so far. So here is the installation shortlist picked by category juror Anila Kayamaga, the 2014 winner of ArtPrize for her entry, Intersections. And next we unveiled the shortlist for the time-based category picked by juror Scott Stulin. And then here's the shortlist for the three-dimensional category. The juror for this category is Rachel Adams. And make note of these must-see venues at ArtPrize 9, the shortlist for the outstanding venue category. You can review all of these shortlists over on woodtv.com and on artprize.org. Okay, so now to the final shortlist, 2D. This is the largest category at ArtPrize. Last year, Lebet won the 2D Juried Award. The juror for the 2D category this year is Miranda Lash, the curator of contemporary art at the Speed Art Museum in Louisville. Hi. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Marley.
So let's start off with Sophia Draws Every Day, years 2, 3, and 4 by Sophia Ramirez Hernandez over at the Cultura Collective at Rumsey Street.
So this is such an intricate, well-drawn piece, and I felt like I was looking at a diary as I walked through this work. There's over 1,000 drawings. Sophia taking on this task and discipline of making a drawing every day of her life. And I felt like I got to know her as a person, what it's like to be an artist. There's a great drawing that says, drawing every day is easy, drawing every day is hard. And I love that she lets you into her world, but also I love that her Latina heritage is part of it as well. There's drawings dedicated to pozole and to Mexican songs, and I love that that's part of the piece.
This is another one of those very personal pieces because it even had one of those where I think she was running a marathon.
Yes.
So it really does give a dialogue of her entire life.
Yes.
Another one of those where I think Mom would say, "Can I have that one?" And then next up, Hero Series by Michael Hyacinth over at the Veterans Memorial Park.
So this is a project, as I understand it, it's evolved over the years, and I think it's grown in beautiful ways. So this is a partnership between designers and veterans, where veterans tell their story to designers, and designers articulate that through greeting cards and posters and T-shirts. And I felt like it was a marriage of great design, but also a way of telling veteran stories in a way that you could access what it was like to serve, and then later to come home and deal with that, the stresses of that. And I love that it's now expanded to 50 states. And the site was great too. It's in a Veterans Memorial Hall, so it was a marriage of great design, great concept.
I think it's another one of those emotional pieces as well, when you can have veterans telling their stories and what they've been through for us.
Yeah.
Next up, 820 Ebony Jet by Barbara Corrant over at the Ruse Escape Rooms.
So this was a piece where I was absolutely enchanted by this architectural journey into the former offices of Ebony and Jet magazine, some of the most important African-American publications. The photographer takes you through these abandoned offices where you're stunned really by the vibrance of the design in the carpets and the wallpaper, even in the restrooms. You get a feel for how fun it must have been to work at Ebony and Jet during the height of their powers. And yet there's a melancholy about it because it's now empty. So you see peeling paper, torn up carpet, and I love that it was in an escape room. So you're studying architecture in a place you're destined to escape from.
And so many different emotions there going through each one of those.
Yeah.
Next up, El Sueño Americano, The American Dream by Tom Kiefer over at DeVos Place.
So I'll tell you, this piece will break your heart. It really will. It documents through the story of objects the risks, the dangers, and the struggles experienced by people trying to enter this country. The photographer, Tom Kiefer, categories objects that have been confiscated in detainment and deportation centers. So anything that's just deemed non-essential or potentially lethal is taken from you when you're put in these centers. So things like jars of baby food, women's birth control, men's belts, wallets, and I think it really articulates how going through this process you lose some of your humanity. You're treated as less than human. And I think it's a powerful work, and it reminds us that immigration is part of what makes America great.
Can you imagine that too? That he got that idea, some of the things that he would look through, he would find Bibles, rosaries, such personal things that at the border it was just considered, well, not necessary. Mm-hmm. Wow, what an emotional piece. The next one, Virtue, Virtu, Vertu by Hip Kiss over at the GRCC Collins Art Gallery.
So this is a piece that's just really luscious to look at. It's made out of graphite and silver ink and gold ink, and the detail in it is so intricate and wonderful. I love how it's 6 almost like trees or chakras growing from the ground, and it's in a small gallery at the GRCC, but beautifully rendered, beautifully done.
I don't think I've heard that sort of description before, luscious. That right there would make anybody want to go see this piece as well. Well, there you have it, all of the shortlists. And you can actually read through them all over on woodtv.com and on the Wood TV mobile app. You can also download a map to help navigate downtown to see all of the finalists that we just talked about tonight. So how important is that to download that? Because I know that it can be very overwhelming when you have all of this art that you want to see. Better get a map so that you can see it all. Well, before we wrap up, though, we do want to talk with our jurors about what they think of ArtPrize and of Grand Rapids. I know that it can be, as I said, overwhelming because you come to Grand Rapids, and even if you've never been to Grand Rapids before, Larry, as you had said, I can't imagine how difficult that would be to have to make your way around. So what did you take away from all of this? Why don't we start with Scott?
Well, this is the 4th ArtPrize I've actually been at, so it's been interesting coming back and seeing how it's evolved. And I think the one thing I really want to share with all the artists is that when we're going through if you're not even on that list, we're looking at all this work and we're seeing hundreds of pieces. And I know I've got a list in my head too of things that I am thinking about for shows and other opportunities in the future. So this really is some place that we're prospecting to for other things down the road. So this is a great opportunity to come and see a whole lot of stuff in one place.
Exactly.
And Anila, you're an artist. You had your artwork up there. You're sitting there hoping that yours will be picked. What does that do for you now to be able to come back and look at all of the art and see what other artists have done? Is that almost stressful to think, oh no, I better get to every single piece because I know what that feels like to have my art out there?
That was stressful because I wanted to give equal attention to every single piece, and I went to 100 sites, or close enough. And but while I was doing that, I was also looking, like Scott said, at all the other things that were in the vicinity, and we had some arguments about some pieces, being traded over. Right. That's why Rachel kept talking about the installation versus. But it's wonderful to see the so many professional artists who are coming into ArtPrize and really putting in time, effort, a lot of energy into the works, and putting them up so professionally, but also a whole bunch of starting artists who are learning as they're doing it. And I think the energy is amazing. And I also want to shout out to like 4 or 5 of the artists who came from Indianapolis, and I loved each one of their works, and we just had so many beautiful pieces to pull from. And so it was hard.
And what did you guys make of Grand Rapids?
I think it's a really, coming from Buffalo, which is maybe just a little bit bigger than Grand Rapids, it was really exciting to kind of be in another sort of small to mid-sized city and see how many people have flocked here to experience ArtPrize, but also everything else that was happening. I think there were 4 weddings in our hotel, and just having a really nice time meeting people that are interested in art and culture, and knowing that it's sort of been this great journey for the past 9 years.
Well, we hope that you all enjoyed being here in Grand Rapids and that you got to see so much wonderful art and really get to take away emotion from it and moving pieces as well. Well, make sure to get out and vote. Round 1 voting continues until 11:59 Saturday night. Then on Sunday, we'll get your short list for each category. The public vote, Final 20, will be announced Sunday at 1 o'clock in Rosa Parks Circle. You can watch that live over on WOTV4. And of course, Wood TV8 is your home for ArtPrize. We hope you'll stop by the Media Arts Center at the Grand Rapids Art Museum and see our newscasts throughout ArtPrize. Stay tuned. The season premiere of The Voice starts next. And then we'll see you tonight at 10 and 11. Thanks for joining us.